Okay, now we're in that third category. And we're talking about the performance standard again. So you're going to fall into this category if the number of bedrooms in the house is greater than the lot size allows for a basic septic system. Chris, what is that number of bedrooms on a 3/4 acre lot?
3 bedroom.
Okay, so if your house has greater than 3 bedrooms and it's less than a 3/4 acre lot, you're likely to be in this category. Okay, if the existing system fails and doesn't, oh, okay, so you're going along fine, let's say next weekend, you've got a family reunion or something and a bunch of people come over and your septic system fails really bad and your neighbor complains about it and we go look at it, we could end up in a situation where that failed system is on a lot that doesn't meet those 2015 requirements, okay? Because of the lot size or the number of bedrooms or the soil type, or there's a lot of rock outcroppings or some limiting conditions where you used to be able to put in a regular septic system. Now you have to think about the 2015 requirements, okay? And the components for these, so those are the two likely scenarios to come up. There are others, but the components for these types of systems are mechanical, they're electrical, they're more complicated, and they require an ongoing maintenance agreement. Now that's actually something we've already got in place in our ordinance, where if you've got a system like this, you have to have a maintenance contract. You have to establish a maintenance contract with somebody when the system's installed. Now, I've heard some complaints about that, so I'd be interested in hearing if you have a maintenance agreement in place now and there are problems with it. I'd be very interested to know what those problems are. Here are examples of some of the components that you would have to install. This is just basically like a little air compressor or a fan kind of a thing. It's not even really a compressor. It's just basically a motor that blows air into the treatment unit, okay? Because the bacteria that break down sewage will do that really well if they have plenty of oxygen. So this is just making sure that air goes into the septic tank. This is a pump chamber, so it's also got an alarm, which is what that little red bulb is. This basically it's about a 50-gallon plastic chamber with a pump in it that receives the wastewater coming out of the tank, and it doses it out to the disposal area. This is a Southern Aerobic Class 2 system. That means that it's on a lot that is either less than 3/4 of an acre or has more than 3 bedrooms, or some other type of a scenario or secondary treatment. So it's got the blower motor and it's got baffles and things inside that basically ensure that the wastewater is being treated and being broken down by bacteria. Otto Buron is here today, and he's with American Pumping, and he does system installs all over the county, mostly up in this part of the county though. And how much does one of those cost now, Otto?
Installed?
Yeah, installed price, roughly speaking. Back of the envelope, not quoting you on this.
Well, it matters if we're modifying the drain field also. You're going to usually start out about 8,000.
Okay, so Otto is telling me, and he's got a lot of experience in this area, you're basically talking about an $8,000 investment if you start to get into this. And if there's other work that needs to be done, then the cost will be greater. That's that same unit, and I'm sorry for the resolution on that photograph, but those two little plastic things there next to that blower motor, those are basically the manholes for that unit that was in the previous picture. This is a drip system over a raised bed of soil. This is a situation where there wasn't sufficient soil to treat the wastewater in a place where there was a lot of rocky outcroppings. So basically we bring in soil to achieve the necessary depth of soil, and then a pump basically pumps that treated wastewater in through those pipes and essentially doses it into the soil. So, and it's essentially it's drip irrigation components that many of you may already be familiar with that you use in your garden and whatnot. But in order for the wastewater not to clog these components up, it needs some fairly more sophisticated treatment up front than what you would find in a typical septic tank. This is a slide about property sales, and it's specific to the East Mountains, because I don't have the data for this part of the county yet. But when property sells now, and since 2000, we've had a system in place where there has to be an evaluation of the septic system. And that evaluation determines whether the system is functioning or not. It doesn't determine whether the system is compliant with the code necessarily or with the 2015 requirements. So if you were to sell your house now, either the buyer or the seller would have to hire somebody who's on our list of approved evaluators to come out and evaluate the system. And they basically do a fairly rudimentary analysis, which includes pumping the tank and trying to identify the area where the drain field is. And they might look at the records we have in our database already. And they basically make a determination as to whether the system is functional or not, okay? So that the incoming homeowner understands, okay, I've got a septic system and this is how I'm supposed to deal with it, and here's where it's located, and here's how many years of use I may expect to get out of it. I know from an analysis we did of the county assessor's records, where between 2006 and 2009, at least 500 houses changed hands in the East Mountains without this type of evaluation being done. So that shows a weak link in the linkage between the county assessor's office and my office, but it also shows that the real estate agents who know about this are not carrying forward with it.